Hey guys, today I'm going to review and recap the first episode of Season 5 of Power, the episode titled Everyone is Implicated. Yeah, even you. So let's get right to it. The episode starts off with Angela Valdez on the roof of this building, and she's having flashbacks of everything that's happened. Everything seems to be a blur, and in these flashbacks, she comes to the realization that Ghost is behind all of this, all these killings and stuff. And it was like so clear in the flashbacks that she was being played all along. So that's like a moment of realization for Angela, and that's made clear to her and us. Those flashbacks lead to her thinking, yeah, I'm implicated. Because after all, that's the name of the episode. Everyone is implicated. She then hears one of the crime tech guys say that a bullet has been found, that ballistics is gonna get to it, and they're gonna analyze it. So at that moment, she's like, oh, fuck. Like, she knows that bullet came from Tasha's gun. So there you go. Another person is implicated. But Angela thinks she's slick, and she tells the tech guy, leave her out of the report. Yeah, you found a bullet and stuff, and yeah, I'm the one that found it. But, you don't have to put that in the report. Just leave me out of it, and it's like, you guys can take credit for that. She's such a nice person. As soon as Angela leaves, this woman from Internal Affairs, or as they call it, IA, shows up, and she starts talking to that crime scene tech guy, saying, yeah, we found a bullet, but, Detective or Agent Valdez said not to say that she found it, to leave her out of the report. To which the IA woman, I think her name's Blanca, Blanca's like, that's weird. And then she says this, if it looks wrong, it usually is wrong. We then cut to Tasha going over to Lakeisha's house. I love saying Lakeisha. That is like one of the funnest names to say, isn't it? Anyways, she goes over to her house and she asks her, to do her a favor. And Tasha says, if anyone asks, just tell them that we were both here all last night. And Lakeisha's like, who's gonna ask? And Tasha replies, I don't think anyone's gonna ask. At that moment, Lakeisha's like, girl, please. Tasha then says, I need your help. And Lakeisha's like, all right, we'll talk about this in the morning. From there, we cut to Cooper interrogating some girl. The girl that Ghost kidnapped in the very last episode. And that girl is saying that James St. Patrick is Ghost. And so Cooper comes to the realization that Greg was right. Because remember, Greg, back in the other seasons, was saying that Ghost is James St. Patrick. They just couldn't prove it. But then this witness is saying, it's him. And they're all like having an aha moment. Like, oh my God, was it that obvious? Cooper then goes and tells his boss, the black lady that's everyone's boss, about Ghost and James St. Patrick being the same person. But she's like, if you guys are going to come with me with those allegations, this has to be a bulletproof case. Because, she wants a winning case to finally lock him up. Cooper goes on and makes racist jokes saying, he says, we need a full Chinese wall around here. No offense. After that, we see Angela confronting Tasha. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is gonna be good. And they show Angela, telling Tasha that, it's your fault that I'm now implicated in this. You told me this and that, and I believed you. Angela says, I'm gonna have to turn you all in, Tasha. All of you. That bullet in the wall is gonna be traced back to Tasha. So Tasha has a maximum amount of time of 24 hours before it gets, logged into the computer system. And Tasha asks Angela, well, isn't there anything you can do? And Angela's like, well, yeah, but it involves her doing illegal stuff. Tasha's like, please bury the records. Please. We then cut to a scene in a bar where Dre is talking to Cristobal. And it's Cristobal. It's not crystal ball, it's Cristobal. Now all I think of is a crystal ball in my head. Dre tells Cristobal that he killed the priest. And Cristobal's like, you killed a priest? And he does that whole the cross thing. And Dre comes to the realization that Tommy, Ghost, and Kanan are all after him. Or him and Cristobal. So he's like, well, let them find us. So he's basically gonna set like a honey trap to get all three of them. From there, we're shown the preparations for Raina's funeral. And it's at this really big, ginormous church. And while they're there, Lorenz Tate meets with them. I forgot the character's name, but you guys know who Lorenz Tate is. Anyways, they walk in and everything's already been like pre-prepared. And Tasha's kind of shocked. She's like, what? You guys are gonna have the press here? You guys are gonna do a eulogy in this order? We're gonna sit where? And so everything's like been pre-done and it's all like coming as a shock to her. And Councilman Tate tells Tasha that, you know, this funeral is a great opportunity. Tasha says, my daughter is dead. That is not a goddamn opportunity. And it's also decided that Tariq's gonna give a eulogy for Raina at the funeral. After that, they all go back home and Tasha interrogates Tariq and asks him, why did Ray kill Raina? And that's when Ghost jumps in and says, yeah, tell us about your little punk ass life. And that triggers Tariq, and they got into a little like fight there. Ghost also calls Tariq a little kid, to which Tariq says, I'm not a little kid. And he goes,
yes the fuck you are!
Don't worry guys, I'm back to being myself now. Ghost also composes himself, and he looks at Tariq straight in the eyes and says, you're gonna answer these questions. One of the things that bothers Tasha so much is how she knew nothing of this. She's like, why didn't Raina tell me any of this? And then Ghost jumps in and says, I know why.
It's because Tariq told her not to.
Goes on and says, if he wasn't so stupid, Raina would be alive. And Ghost also goes after Tasha and says, you weren't watching, Tasha. That's why this happened. That's why Raina's dead. There was a lot of emotion in that scene. That was great. We then cut back to Angela and she's in front of a computer and she's on that page where she could delete that the logging evidence of the ballistics report. And she's like super close to, you know, hitting the delete button, but she doesn't do it. And they just leave us hanging like that. We then see a scene of Angela Valdez being interrogated by Blanca Rodriguez, you know, the internal affairs lady. And she wants to know why Angela was there at Ray's house. And Angela just lies and says that, you know, she wanted to ask him some questions, but she never got to ask them because, you know, obviously he died. And she kind of ends it at that. The internal affairs lady can smell bullshit a mile away, so she knows that Angela's lying and hiding something. And then as she's leaving, she says something in Spanish. She says, "Qué bueno ver una boricua como jefa," which means it's good to see a Puerto Rican woman as a chief, you know, jefa. We then see some street kid tell Tommy that the priest is dead. And it hits Tommy in the feels because Tommy says that that priest was the only good white man he knew. We then see the trio of Ghost, Kanan, and Tommy decide to go after Dre as like a united front, a united force. So they're gonna kick some ass. But as they're heading into that spot to get Dre, they realize that it's a trap. There's a quick little firefight and Ghost gets shot. Proctor makes an appearance saying he doesn't want to know what's going on because he doesn't have attorney-client privilege anymore, but he's there to help because, you know, he's family. But he kind of reluctantly agrees that he's family. It's like he wants to be in and out at the same time. So after the fight, Ghost goes home and Tasha's like, where have you been? And Ghost, you know, he doesn't say much. And then Tasha's like, did you kill Dre? This is kind of like not wanting to talk about it. He's like, good night, Tasha. But you know, Tasha keeps going at it. And eventually Ghost replies with, we'll all feel better once Dre's dead. To which Tasha is not having it. And she's like, she will never feel better. Ever. We then see a scene of the three amigos having a meeting. And they're deciding how they can get Dre. And Tommy suggests that they should get white hitters to get Dre. You know, hitters being hitmen. And then Ghost comes to the realization that, yeah, why don't we use both? Black hitters and white hitters. It'll be a perfect plan. That's the way to regain the element of surprise, you guys. We then cut to Tasha asking Angela if she's deleted the ballistic evidence. And she says to her, you owe me. And Angela says, you know, if I do this, I'll do it not for you, but I'll do it, you know, for Raina and Tariq, which is bullshit, you know. And then Tasha's like, you know, if you do this, you're doing it for you. Because, you know, it's her ass on the line, too. She's the one that could totally be, you know, complicit in this. It's like the episode's name, right? It's everyone is implicated. Everyone. Even you guys. We then see Tommy make a deal with the Italians. He says, you know, oh, can you move some of my product? And he makes a good deal with them. And as he's leaving the Italian mafia's house, he makes a little side deal with these two young guys that are by this yellow car. And he makes a deal for them to help him out with taking down Dre. And the thing is that usually those guys, they only make deals if it goes through their big boss. But this is like a side deal that nobody knows is going on, and that's going to be very important later on. We then see the funeral, and it's packed full of people, and in the very front row is where, you know, the immediate family of Raina is supposed to sit. And, you know, Tommy, he's like family, but, you know, Tommy's a white boy, and they don't want him to sit in the front row. And Lorenz Tate, he's like, you know, it doesn't look good, and it's basically, you know, for optics, you know, it just looks better. Which means, you know, if people see a white person there, I guess they'll have less sympathy for him or something. It's crazy. We then get to the point where Tariq has to do his eulogy, and as he's doing it, he gets choked up, or so we think, and he runs to the bathroom, and Lakeisha runs after him. But while he's in the bathroom, he pulls out his phone, and he's like getting these messages and stuff. So we know that was fake emotion. He was faking it, you guys. So Dre gets word from Tariq that the hitters are after him, and he sees these two black guys following him, and he starts running, and he goes like through all these hallways, and he gets to a point where he sees these laundry guys, these two white laundry guys, and they put this big like blanket over him. But as that whole scuffle's going on, Dre shoots one of the guys, one of the Italian guys, and I think he dies. And you know that's gonna like be a big like plot twist. Like that wasn't supposed to happen. And in the very final scene of the show, we see Ghost go to the cemetery to Raina's grave, and while he's there, Dre shows up in this like hoodie, and he has some words with Ghost. And Dre tells Ghost that unless he wants to see everyone he loves die, that he needs to stay in his own lane. And then we see Ghost just give like this look like, I don't know. It was like so good that moment. It was like so powerful, that look, like a rage. Like you could have killed him at that moment. He used all his power not to. It was awesome. And Dre puts one of those little spider cards in Ghost's pocket and just walks away. And from there, we cut to black and the episode ends. And what can I say? It was a great first episode of season 5. Always when you start the first episode of a new season, it can be a little confusing because, you know, you kind of forget what happened in the previous seasons. And then it takes like, you know, a few minutes for you to get back into the rhythm of the show. But now after this episode, everything's clear again. I'm totally looking forward to next week's episode. I mean, it's only gonna get better. I just love that, you know, we have the three amigos, you know, Kanan, Ghost, and Tommy working together against Dre. It's like becoming really exciting thinking of it like that, like, you know, 3 against 1. If you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'm Moises, and I'm out.